All right. So episode number 5. Obviously, we're trying to do an open reflection, and then just sort of touching on what comes next, what's after the open. We just finished the 3 weeks of the open. It's officially the Monday after the last week, I guess. Scores are all validated and due. Quarterfinals invites get sent out. They'll be out by the time this goes to air.
Yeah, workouts come out Friday morning.
Yep. So basically, let's dive into the open. We can sort of start with week 1. What were your thoughts?
Week 1, I thought it was a pretty good start. I liked the triplet, the 3 movements, the wall walks coming back for that retest element.
Yeah.
I don't know about yourself, but I thought week 1 was probably a really well balanced week 1 based on previous opens.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think it gave a lot of people room to show off some fitness. If you didn't touch on your wall walks and keep your wall walks up for the year, you got caught out. But as a whole, it was pretty much just a fitness workout. The reps on the wall walks are low enough that you didn't have to. You weren't going to fail for most people. Dumbbell snatches 12 at a time is not exactly crazy, and then the same thing on those box jump overs. Yes, 15's a fair bit, and if you did any more than 10 rounds of the workout, you did 150. But for the most part, yeah, I thought it was a great workout.
What about time domain, 15 minutes? Think that was well balanced?
Yeah, I think so. It more of a mental element than anything. It was long enough to stop people that could sprint that stuff from sprinting it. And then it was also long enough that you had to stay in it mentally to actually get a good score.
Yeah, and I think watching, we had over 80 athletes go through it, timing the kick at the back end, knowing when to go. I found a lot of people probably went too late.
Yeah.
Whether they could get to, for instance, an example, if you had 30 seconds and you were on your box jumps or starting box jumps, or 30 seconds and you're starting a wall walk.
Yeah.
There's way more reps that were, if you could position yourself on the box
in
jumps
the right
available
place.
there.
Yeah. I think, so, a minute left. Yeah, like you said, 30 seconds, a minute left. If you were on your wall walks and you weren't hustling to get to a better movement for accumulating reps, then you probably executed that a little bit sub-optimally compared to what you could have.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the
standards?
Yeah, the standards were good. I like that they made the second line or the far line a set standard height this year instead of based off your height. It took away any room for measuring error on people's part, dropping their shoulders or bending their knees while they were at the wall, that kind of thing. It took away those little things where people could cheat the standard.
Yeah, I think people want that individualization, but they forget that opens up the room for gaming.
Yeah, 100%. If you want to cheat that standard and you're laying down on the floor, you just drop your shoulders and you make yourself real short and bad postured. You'll shorten it by like 2 inches.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to pick that up on the camera if you know what you're doing. So I think having that set measured distance is the way that it should go, like all the time.
Yeah. So moving forward, you think they'll keep it the same?
I think they should. It'll fix a lot of things. So
I think they need to leave it. They need to leave it like that for a couple of years at least.
Yeah.
Give people a chance to get accustomed to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like strict handstand push-ups, as an example, even kipping, when they change it, people have just kind of got used to that movement and they change, and then they change it again.
Yeah, and you practice 1 year to that standard the whole time. You practice, and then they change it on you. You suddenly get thrown, and I guess that's part of CrossFit, but at the same time you've got to have some continuity between standards from year to year. So I think that was good. I I thought there's not much to talk about on the dumbbells. I'm glad they took out the, and I think they did this last year, but you didn't have to drop it from a certain height. I think that was good. You could just change hands wherever. I like that. The box jump overs, that was the one thing I agreed with, but I didn't agree with, right? Like, they took it out because they didn't want people. They put that new standard in for that. For those that don't know, you had to step off the box. You weren't allowed to jump off the box. They put that standard in as a way to limit people rupturing Achilles tendons or spraining ankles or whatever it may have been, as a safety element. But I personally didn't really agree with the fact that they took that out, or they put that in there. I think you should allow people to jump, and if they want to jump off, they can jump off. If they want to rebound, they can rebound. If they want to step off, they can step off. There's a lot that people train to be able to do that. I have clients that train.
It's a high skill, so if you've acquired that, why take it away?
Exactly. So I have clients that train to rebound. We practice rebounding, and that's part of it. So if you shouldn't be rebounding, or you can't rebound, then don't. But I don't think it should have been taken out.
A general standard.
Yeah, from the same end though, it did level the playing field a little bit, which I thought was good.
Just about to say that they had 50,000 registrations that day post workout, which is the highest post workout one release registration ever.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So it's like, okay, did that play into it?
Yeah, maybe people suddenly thought that they could do well, and I mean that comes back to as well. On another note on that, I found a lot of people in that workout did way better than I thought they would have, or they should have, and maybe that was due to the fact that it was just a pure expression of fitness. There was no skill or capacity, skills capacity involved there with the rebounding, or the dumbbell snatch was simple enough, the wall walks was low enough.
The weight, especially, people are used to that now. The wall walks, people practiced. Even though the accumulation was high volume, the sets were small enough that people could repeat. Those people could express their fitness. I think that was what was nice about this workout, was that you could purely express how fit you were. It didn't matter if you were games level athlete or not games level athlete. You could express your fitness as a whole. The best was still the best.
The best was still the best, 100%. And the scores that were put up by the best were ridiculous.
And it's I think that time domain allowed that.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll move on to workout 2. Workout 2 was a bit of a controversial one. The volume side of things, I actually agreed with. Maybe the combinations based on, I suppose, post-open reflection, we probably think, okay, we've had this conversation, there probably wasn't enough scoring opportunities. And there probably wasn't enough high skill.
Yeah, I like this workout as a whole. Again, allowed you to express more of a muscular endurance component of your fitness as opposed to your
couplets are perfect for that.
Aerobic endurance. But I had this conversation with someone who was like, they were like, 100 deadlifts in 10 minutes, I can't do that. And I was like, no, you can't. That way,
that's why it was a 10-minute cap.
And that's why it was a 10-minute cap, so that you couldn't do 100 deadlifts in 10 minutes, because the people that couldn't do that,
shouldn't do that.
Shouldn't do. People that couldn't do that shouldn't do that. 100 deadlifts at 225 pounds, or what was the women's weight, 155 pounds at 170 kilos respectively. That's a lot. That's 10 tons.
It's a lot
moved
of weight
in 10 minutes for the males. So that time cap was in there to stop those people who don't have that capacity from getting there. And again, the ones who did have the capacity got through it and got it done.
It was a smart time cap from a programming perspective. We did talk a little bit about it, that maybe it would have been better suited as deadlift toes to bar, only because it added that high skill element to it.
I think that would have brought a very
workout.
different feel to that workout had it been toes to bar.
Yeah, very different. And the only reason, we need to clarify, the only reason people actually look at this as a bad workout is because there was only 3 workouts.
Yeah.
Not because the workout itself was bad.
Yeah, I think...
In the context, it just maybe didn't allow enough balance over the 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree there. I think obviously we'll talk about this in a second, but only 3 scoring opportunities, and you didn't really leave much room for something varied. Like we said, the time domains of these workouts were very well varied.
Yeah.
The best scores in the world, obviously 15 minutes. The best scores in the world, 7 to 8 minutes, and then the next workout, the best scores in the world, 4 to 5 minutes. You know, they all fit those standard time domains that CrossFit lays out. But yeah, we were missing a pure expression of strength. But the way this workout kind of went was, you know, anyone that didn't have that capacity got to round of 9, 10, or maybe, you know, the round of 9 or 8 on the way down. And then the people who had the capacity got further than that, and then the ones who had the capacity plus the fitness got even further than that and got the workout done, I think.
What do you think of the burpee standard, the change where you were allowed to skip over?
I think it just made it easier for judging. Yeah. I mean, we've seen this tons of times. That 2-foot takeoff isn't really a 2-foot takeoff.
If you slow it down enough.
If you slow it down enough and you watch it frame by frame by frame, it's a 1.5-foot takeoff, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it just made it easier from a judging perspective. I think it did allow for skipping over the bar, which I really didn't like. But I think it worked alright. Again, the fastest scores in the world are always going to do the 2-foot takeoff.
Yeah.
Or 2-foot takeoff standard.
Delayed skip.
Yeah, delayed skip. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, I thought it was good. I think the line, there was some controversial videos I saw of very high level athletes that were supposed to have a line that just ignored the line.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't matter. People say, oh, it doesn't matter. They're still, but it matters. You know, if you were pushing that workout, your barbell probably ended up slightly skewed, and you had to have something to keep you on a line and straight, and in your field of play, or your work space, right? If your barbell was bouncing all over the place and you started the workout in one spot and you finished the workout 5 feet over to the right, you know, that's shows a lack of control over your barbell as well. So I think having that line in the middle was good. It would have just been nice to have seen people respect that a little bit more.
Yeah, so this is the line Matt's talking about.
Yeah, so there's a line in the middle there. You had to straddle the line. All right, when you were on the ground, meaning your hands and feet had to be either side of the line, and it had to bisect down the middle of your body, which is not hard. Like, that's pretty easy to hold on to.
Yeah.
It just ended up.
I did feel for the females a little bit. I noticed with our weight versus their weight, our weight did not move as much. And just with theirs being that lighter weight, there was a little bit more lateral bounce.
But I mean, you can control that pretty easily.
Yeah, it's still bar management.
Yeah. I mean, that's all part of working out, right? You have to manage your equipment. Anyway, yeah, overall, great workout. Some of the times that went up were insane. I think the winning time was 7:20 from Luka Ducic maybe, or something, or Lazar Ducic. I forget which one. Or no, it was Aldous Upanix, I feel like. Anyway, crazy.
Unreal. And I mean, the best way to think about these times is like, if you did this as a 10-minute EMOM of 10 deadlifts at that weight, would you finish it?
Yeah.
Or if you did it as 10 bar facing burpees, would you finish it?
Yeah, that was what was crazy.
There's a good percentage that wouldn't.
No. All right, workout 3. This was my favorite and least favorite workout out of all of them.
Yeah, she hurt.
Yeah, this one was. I'm not proud of what happened to me on this workout.
You just had to hit that pain cave.
Yeah, and it, like, if you had the skill level and you were like, you know.
Is that victory grips?
That is victory grips. Yeah, Matchy 10, no, Gilpin 10 from 4 time for 10% off, by the way.
Thanks to Semi-Pro for the sponsor.
So on this one, if you had the fitness and skill capacity, you were fine. You were going to be fine across this whole workout. And sorry, I'm just fixing my mic. You were, you would have been able to get through it. The muscle ups for a lot of people got really hard, but as a whole, 21 pull-ups, not that much. 18 chest to bar pull-ups, not that much. 15 bar muscle ups, getting there. All right. And then in terms of the barbell weights as well, up until the 15, not that many reps,
No.
right? Like,
not compared to what people do now.
yeah, and
training.
then like the double unders, they were non-existent, but they definitely played a role. What we saw a lot of was a lot of people getting to those bar muscle ups, and especially people whose technique wasn't optimal.
Yeah.
The people who muscle themselves up there or don't have great hip drive, etc.
They can probably push 3 to 5 fresh, but not smooth 10.
Yeah, those people really struggled, because by the time you got there, your grip was fried, your lats were fried, and you were just hurting. And they really, really struggled to even get a muscle up. I had people say to me, like, but I can do muscle ups. I'm like, well, you couldn't in that workout.
Yeah, and then they redid it and still couldn't.
Yeah, and it was purely just that they were fucked by the time they got there.
So I suppose, because that was a fault for a lot of people. Like, we saw that too. In terms of training that, how would they address that?
I think for the most part, for the majority of those people, it's a technical issue. So they need to spend time correcting those technical faults. There was one of our members there doing it. He kept trying to do it like a strict muscle up, where he was like kipping, but then he would almost try and do a pull up over the bar with no hip drive. And for him, it would be about just correcting that. So it's hip drive to the bar, and it's building some lat strength, and probably not even strength. It's just the skill.
Technique retention under fatigue.
Yeah,
that's probably something we don't see enough of. Is people learn a skill, and then once they learn a skill on its own or in isolation, that's it.
Yeah, they just.
And they don't train it under fatigue to see how their retention is or how their pattern holds up.
So for me, we've talked about this on I think it was our last podcast, was how to, say we're learning bar muscle ups. We're gonna do skills drills until you understand parts of the pattern and be able to take that whole pattern and put it together. And then we're gonna take that pattern and we're gonna build capacity in that pattern and exposure to that pattern. So we're gonna do bar muscle ups. So this is hypothetically saying you've now done a bar muscle up. We're gonna do bar muscle ups, accumulate a ton of bar muscle ups with good and optimal technique. And then we're gonna take that and we're gonna try and lay a capacity onto that. So we might start off with a 10-minute EMOM of 2 bar muscle ups. We might make that then a 10-minute EMOM of 3, 4. Now we're getting up to 40 in a session. We bring that EMOM duration down, and I might go and make you do, a 5-minute EMOM of 5, whatever it is.
And eventually, for something like this, it might even become 5 thrusters, 3 muscle ups.
Exactly. Well, the EMOM would then become thrusters and muscle ups, and then it would become a Metcon of thrusters and muscle ups, and that just progresses you from the skill in its isolation to now the expression of the skill under fatigue with another movement.
Yeah.
So that's the crux of it. I think the thing we saw a lot of with most people is that the way they do the muscle up in the class or whatever is they've got their muscle up, right? They've done their first muscle up, but it's not great. And instead of trying to say, okay, well, hey, coach had these scaling options and these other drills that I could do, they are like, all right, I'm just going to do my muscle up, and I'm going to do a bunch of muscle ups in this workout. And they never correct their technical fault. And even when coach comes over and says, hey, like, try driving your hips up, like, let me show you this, they still go back and do what they were doing before that. And then when it does come time to test it properly in a workout like this, you don't have it.
Yeah, it's always just an expression of your practice. So like we talk about, like, we have to pull clients back sometimes. So you never get to skip beginner training.
Yeah. Like,
you're either going to do it at the start or you're going to get pulled back at some point.
I mean, shit. Like, again, even I do bar muscle up skill drills.
Yeah.
I might not do them that often, but I do them all the time as a technical touch up to just make sure, like, hey, okay, everything's on point. I know what I'm doing. I feel good. And I've corrected any technical errors that I might have.
Yeah. All in all, good workout, 12-minute time cap. some of the times were fast, very fast. Unbroken sprints for some athletes. Like, what was your time?
5:57, and that was slow. That's my worst open finish in like 2 years.
Yeah, and that puts it in perspective of how fast. So he did in under half the allocated time.
Mallory O'Brien was like 4:11. I watched her video, and she tripped a ton of times on her double under. She actually looked like she was upset after the workout, like she was crying, like, oh, fuck this up. And she still got the fastest time in the world.
That's crazy.
It's appalling.
So I suppose all in all, over the 3 workouts, some takeaways. The programming, I suppose, individually, like each workout individually was really well done. I did hear a rumor, conspiracy, I'm not sure. Castro did 1 and 3, and CrossFit did the number 2.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. There was that video of Castro with Sean Sweeney where Sean Sweeney finished a workout that clearly had double unders and a barbell in it, and he was like, that was so bad, and he was like spewing for a while.
Probably
and I'm guessing that was that one, yeah, because that's how I felt after that workout.
Yeah, I didn't want to pick up the thrusters at the 60.
No.
We spoke a little bit about, because obviously Torian have their quarterfinals qualifying off this. Some of the stuff, so some of the events actually have some pairs and stuff getting qualifications from this. And we were just talking about some of the placements where we feel like from that perspective there needed to be a 4th scoring opportunity. Not necessarily a 4th workout, but
I think there should have been some kind of lift or complex. It just, I know it's so like cliche and this is what we do all the time and it's the same, it's always the same, but I think there needs to be something that just takes out your F45 bunnies or your people that are like, honestly, people like me who are really fit and can express the skills, but when it comes down to lifting a really heavy barbell, there's a lot of other people who are better than me at that, like a lot of them. I'm not very strong at all. And though it gives those people their chance.
Yeah, you know? And I don't think we should judge too early. Like post quarterfinals, that'll give a clearer indication. Yeah. But if like, for instance, we place, like let's say I use myself as an example. Like if I place 800, all right, top 900 go through, we do quarters, and now I'm top 150.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, well, if quarters were qualifications for some of these events, you're going to have a good percentage of these athletes who can't do the weight or can't do the high skill.
What I really hope doesn't happen now is that I hope they don't go, all right, well, we need 2 strength tests in quarters.
Yeah, make up for it.
Yeah, because that'll kick my ass.
3 RM bench press.
But yeah, it's no. But yeah, so those are the sort of things that are missing, and it just would have been nice to have seen that for those bigger athletes as well. Like there's a lot of guys out there that yes, they'll qualify off of this, and maybe that's their thought process as well. You know what, the
quarters will filter
the
it.
People are still going to qualify. We'll leave quarters to filter that, but I think it still would have been pretty good.
They did a good year, like of getting growth again into the sport.
Yeah, I think it was good.
We've kind of stalled, pardon me, for a while, which really good. We just need to see how it plays out from here. So I don't want to be too critical. Like I do think it might play out fine. It might automatically filter. My worry is more the events that qualify from the Open.
Yeah.
Like the quarterfinals naturally filters everything else for individual and stuff like that. But it's more those events where they're taking pairs and they're taking some of those other teams.
Yeah.
But their qualification is from Open Stage 1, not quarterfinals.
Yeah. That's it.
So I suppose this leads us into what happens for those post. All right, obviously some of us have quarters coming up, and even that. But for those who quarters kind of end for them for this season, and for those where the Open is the end for them for this season.
Yeah. So obviously you've got this is our programming sheet up there. You've written this, so you can talk through it.
Yeah, so basically, for us, we're using this opportunity for most of us to go back into some of the strength stuff, spend a little bit more time doing less fitnessy metcons. We didn't really have any back squatting, any front squatting, or any like raw strength work leading in. It was really about just general fitness for a lot of the group classes. So they had competency in the 3 workouts. They felt like they could do it. we had the most people do RX that we've ever had. That's partly to do with how CrossFit program, not just what we program. So we don't necessarily want to take all the credit for that, but I do think that shift now is going to be quite good for people to go back to some fundamentals. We went back to a technique week first, so we did like a technical light week last week, where it was some basics around squatting light but feeling good in your squat, tightening your positions, clean and jerk, adding some pauses overhead, being patient, working on breath work and footwork, which just getting some confidence on that bar again before jumping into week one.
Yeah.
And then this is our general layout. So we've got the 5-day layout. Monday you've got your strength, back squats is going to be the focus. Then you've got Tuesday strength again, the Olympic lifting will have a snatch bias. Wednesday you've got the front squats. Now if we go, for us personally, because of general population, it's not going to be heavy Monday, heavy Wednesday. So for example, like this week, Monday's back squats are the 4x6 at about 75%. So still not super heavy, but it's going to feel heavy because people haven't been under a heavy bar for a while. But then the front squats on Wednesday are only 65%, but they're 1 1/4 front squats.
Yeah.
So they're tough, but tough in a different way. So increasing time and attention rather than just going, all right, give them heavy load, which is a little bit different to how you'd see general strength programs for the higher level athletes.
Yeah, I think that's, like, it's good. We need, in terms of programming, you know, especially for general pop, you know, you don't need to lift heavy every day or every second day or every third day.
Building sitting a lot.
Yeah, building safe movement patterns is a much bigger priority over that. So getting people into that tempo squat and pause or whatever it's going to be, really does go a long way for just helping them to.
Well, our approach with this program, and we spoke about it for anyone who's not interested, was more about the best way for us to get the most out of everyone is to get them through the 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So how do we get a very high percentage through 8 weeks training 5 days a week?
Yeah, and that's it. Like, you know, you can write a program that makes a bunch of people very strong, but it's probably going to kill the other half of them.
You're just filtering out the weak that couldn't survive.
So,
and you're left with the strong.
Yeah, so it's just, it'll help. And you know, tempos and that build strength in ranges of motion, especially with that slowing down. You build a greater degree of control over your movement pattern. So I think that's going to be good for a lot of our guys.
Thursday we got the clean and jerk bias.
Snatch bias.
We got snatch on.
Oh, so it's meant to be clean and jerk.
Yeah, sorry, that's meant to be clean and jerk, guys. I'll show you an example week once we've.
I don't know how well the camera can actually see the screen, by the way.
Yeah, so it's more so that you guys can hear. And we're alternating between odds and evens in terms of weeks, in terms of like squat and power. So for instance, week 1 would be power. So power snatch. Tuesday, power clean and split jerk on Thursday. And then week 2 would be our even weeks. That would be the squat snatch, and that would be the squat clean and jerk.
Yeah.
And then Friday we've got some of our general strength stuff. So we've got our bench press and strict press, so working on horizontal pressing or vertical pressing, and gymnastic strength, which we'll be building we introduced the guys to some false grip ring pull-ups last week, and we'll be building on that. So either building them to some low ring assisted strict work, or if some people develop a little bit quicker, those strict ring muscle ups. Metcons, don't really need to touch on them too much, but if you can see the red, a lot of them are smaller time domains at the moment. We don't really have those big long chippers, which we'll fill in for Saturday for the cardio bunnies. And then the intervals are what we kind of going to be working on the Wednesday. An example week is this week. So you can see this is how the week would look laid out for us. So for today, they've got the 4 sets, A1, A2 back squats, and double dumbbell overhead walk, nice and slow, working on some positions and strength and end range. And then we've got EMOMs, which are progressively building on specific things. The main focus for this one is going to be like specific combinations. So they're always going to have burpees in there or some form of burpee, and they are always going to have rowing. So they're the 2 staples that are in on the Monday. The other movements will vary depending on the stimulus that we're trying to target. The snatch there, you've got this week they're kind of doing a bit of an assessment week. So a technical max just to see where they're at, but they still have some percentage work first, and then we'll do retesting at the end of the 8 weeks. Odds and evens is basically just a 16-minute AMRAP where it varies. So 200-meter run, 5 hang power snatch, 2 wall walks, and then that'll be round 1. Round 2 would be 200-meter run, 5 hang clean and jerks, 2 bar muscle ups, or we've got some toe rises there, which will be some skill work
Now,
for the guys.
something I like about those odds and evens too is I find this when I'm trying to program for classes where I'm doing a strength piece and a metcon and a strength piece and a metcon every day, is those odds and evens are actually a really nice way to get volume of other things in, so you can squeeze in quite a lot of different movements in there. So I like that. I think they're great.
Yeah, it's not something I've used too much of, but I've definitely found people enjoy the workouts more because there's a bit more variety.
Yeah.
And then especially of those longer time domains.
Yeah.
And half the time you'll find you're only changing one movement. Wednesday, so you've got the front squats, and then they've got some upper back stuff that we've been trying to work towards. So some prone bench YTW press outs. Last week they just had some incline rows, dumbbell rows. So really just trying to target upper back, but we'll give them a variation of that each time. We try and talk to our guys about identifying the assistant movements, or the movements that help them.
Yeah.
So, I did the YTWs and my front rack felt really good when I was front squatting.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be something you need to add into your warm-ups. The interval metcons they're pretty tough, as everyone should know if they've done interval work. This one here, they've got every 3 minutes times by 3, 50 double unders, 20 dumbbell thrusters, single arm dumbbell thrusters, 12 toes to bar, and then rest any remaining time and repeat. Looking to try and get them to keep their sets unbroken, and then we've just been building on that. So last week they had, I think they had 2 sets. This week they moved into the 3 sets, toes to bar, and the double unders are the 2 staples in there.
Yeah.
And then 2-minute rest every 3 minutes times 2, 75 double unders, 24 alternating dumbbell snatches. So odd object, if you guys haven't picked up on that, no barbell work in the metcons on Wednesday. And then they've got 1 attempt max strict handstand push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So they're scored on the handstand push-ups in those last 2.
Yeah.
Then you've got an example of Thursday. So Thursday is very it's literally the same layout as Tuesday. Alright, so they've got 4 by 90 seconds, 1.1 at 70%. Now it's twice through the complex. So it's one squat clean and jerk, 1 hang squat clean and jerk, and they do that twice in the 90 seconds for 4 sets. And then they move into 6 minutes where they'll just get a build to a technical max on 1 squat clean and jerk.
Yeah.
Now generally we would just say clean and jerk, but we're really trying to emphasize, hey guys, you're working on your squat clean. Then you've got some heavier stuff. We're actually building a little bit on some shoulder to overhead here, if the guys haven't picked up on it already. So the 3, 6, 9, 12, they've got row calories and front squats. So they're shorter workouts. Generally they're going to be higher power output though. 3-minute rest, and then 3, 6, 9, 12 echo bike and shoulder overhead at 70 and 45. And then you've got the bench press for the Friday. So they got the 1 1/4 reps on their bench, and then they've got ring support this week, as where they had the false grip ring pull-ups last week. And then their workout is their partnered workout we tend to give them on Friday, which just tends to get them in that 1-to-1 work rest.
Yeah, a little bit more intensity.
Yeah, seems to work well for them, especially now with us doing 5 days of strength work.
Yeah.
Other than that, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, you've written the program, and I think it's very similar to where I'd take it. You know, it's strength work, trying to get some skill touches on some of the Olympic lifts, and this time of year, following the Open, if you didn't make it to the next stage, is really a great time to get after some of your limitations, especially strength-wise. You know, you can build fitness very quickly. That's like that. It's strength that takes a long time to build, because you have to obviously lay more muscle tissue. There's a neural adaptation to it and all that. So I think it's a great time to get after strength, fix some movement patterns, and just really
yeah, for everyone listening, I mean, you heard of our focus for everyone. It definitely should be get through the 8 weeks.
Yeah. So
if you need to work a little bit lighter, that's fine. Practice some delayed gratification. Don't try and PB now.
Yeah.
We call it narwhaling. All right. Don't try and narwhal. Just try and plan for week 8, and week 8 is where you can hopefully make sure that you see those improvements, and then that momentum runs into the next training phase.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's sort of us there. I think you've got about 4 minutes until the class you're going to go and do.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of wrap things up there. We'll maybe jump on and do another one post quarters or sometime in the next few weeks. If there's anything you guys want to hear from us or talk about, chuck it in the comments on either YouTube or I suppose you can always send it to us on Instagram. Maybe just send us a how you talk about this or whatever it is. Or if you're in the gym, give us a yell and say, hey, I want to talk about this. So yeah. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you. Take care. Let's get strong.